Announced properly, well done. Okay, so you've heard from some really amazing speakers and there's still more to come. So I'm gonna make mine a bit briefer because I really want you to hear from Ray specifically. There's a lot of coaches in the room that are really interested in this space. But my presentation is gonna be a bit more raw and a bit more scary, I guess. And I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna be very honest about this space. So this is not easy to do. We all know this is hard. And if it was easy, we'd all be sitting in a netball conference. So I get a lot of calls day to day from clubs asking me what they can do to attract and retain female players. And I ask them 3 questions. How many women on your committee or on your board making decisions day to day? And I don't mean your canteen manager. How many of your coaches know how to coach girls? And how are you willing to prioritise your facilities for your girls? And if the answer is no on all of those, I ask them not to bother. Because this is our state of play at the moment. So 4,000, down, oh thanks. So last year, or this year, 4,331 girls didn't re-register that were playing football in Victoria. There's a few there that we know have gone overseas or interstate, but that's a massive amount of our footballers, female footballers that have decided not to return to football. We got 4,441 new registrations and 492 girls returned back to the sport that hadn't played in 2016. So we had an overall growth of 602. If we worked more on retaining the girls that we had, yeah, I'm getting a few nods there, we wouldn't have, our participation numbers would grow through the roof. We're an attractive sport at the moment. Our Matildas are doing so well. It's an easy sport for girls to play. It's fun, it's social, it ticks all the boxes, and yet we're losing them. I'm not going to bore you with that. That's for all kids. This is the 5 reasons kids leave sport. It's not fun. They're afraid to make mistakes. They don't feel respected. But I want to talk about the specific reasons for females. One is environmental. 49% of girls leave the sport, and this is from studies done by Sport England, for environmental reasons, things that we can control. So, poor coaching. There was a big skill jump between our under-11s and under-12s competition. Stuff that we're trying to do in terms of a small-sided games with the under-12s. Clubs are too unwelcoming. They don't welcome the players. The facilities are not female friendly. Or it's too competitive. It's not social enough for them. The individual reasons, which are some things we can contribute or assist with. It's no longer enjoyable. A lot to do with coaching. Perceived lack of skill, so their insecurities. And clubs can do work around that. I know Vic Health's doing a lot of that, but we can do stuff around the club as well to assist in this area for girls to feel okay to feel vulnerable or not good enough when it comes to their skill level and still be worthy. The stuff that Ben Crow was talking about yesterday. Time, work, kids, school, studies, priorities, body image, and we'll talk about that a bit later. The cost, injuries. Girls have 4 times more likely chance of having soft tissue injuries. Is that right, Alex? Or is it 3 times more? Than boys. If you're not doing a FIFA 11 plus injury prevention program before training every day, especially for the girls, they're leaving due to injuries. And then their friends are no longer playing. Societal factors, we really, we're a long way from helping with that, and that's pressure to conform, being teased about doing what's considered a male sport. Why include women and girls? I actually feel horrified that I have to put this slide up here, but I go to a lot of functions and I'll ask technical directors that used to have girls' teams, why don't you have girls' teams anymore? And they were too hard. They didn't want to pay for anything. They kept complaining, all the things that we hear. But why include women and girls? Moya touched on it a bit yesterday. Companies that have 30% females on their board are actually 6% more profitable and 8% in Australia. Girls think community. So, Plan International is doing some amazing work in, third world countries, and there's a direct correlation between communities that are successful and have food and the kids are being educated once they've educated the women. It's a fact. Women are carers. You'll get more access to funds because of that. So in terms of they will assist, you can have more social events. The club can generate income to put into facilities. You'll have more members, more family-friendly clubs. You'll get more volunteers. And I'm not talking about traditional roles. I'm talking about clubs going out there teaching women how to run the line. Really get them involved. And you'll get more access to facilities through your councils. And going back, you'll be able to attract more sponsors as well if there's more females in your club. So what does a female-friendly club look like? It's welcoming. There's a welcoming committee. There's someone that is a welcoming coordinator that chats to the girls and says hi, takes them on a tour of the facility. It's a more social environment. There's a buddy system, so they've got access to female role models. They'll get senior players to buddy the younger girls. They see that the girls are participating in Team App Cup finals. Like, they see a pathway. They see that the club celebrates the most senior female team at the club, the same as the men. There's female decision makers. I'm not going to go on that. I want to, but we'll talk about that later. It's safe. So girls, when you ask a group of men why are you scared of women, they'll turn around and tell you, or most of them will tell you, because I'm afraid of women because I'm scared they'll laugh at me or laugh about me. When you ask a woman what she's afraid of in terms of men, they're afraid for their safety. They're scared that they're going to be hurt. So girls really need to feel safe in the environment. Don't put them on pitches that are really far away from the club rooms, late at night, without safe lighting. Offer flexible packages, and that's around the product. So offer competitive programs, but also offer social stuff like a women's Metro Sevens, Summer Sevens competitions, offer girls and mixed. So there are a lot of girls that want to play in girls-only teams at Mini Roos level, but there's a lot of girls that want to play in mixed environments. Yep, it's hard. It's easier with the boys. You just offer one thing and they do it. But girls want flexibility and they want choice. And have coaches that can coach girls, that understand them, understand the body image issues that they have, and how they want to be communicated to. And give them priority access. I know this is hard. And I'm not saying that you have to have a female-friendly facility because that really relies on local government and a lot of other factors. But if you do have a facility, try and organise that the training is on different times to the boys so they do have access to the change rooms to change and feel comfortable. And I'm not talking about the 4:30 time slot or the 9:30 time slot at night. Give them the good times and see how much your figures will grow. So on the International Day of the Girl this year, Plan International released this report. It's something that I recommend that you all read. There's a bit of a typo on my slide that I did this morning. So it's meant to say, do you think girls are always treated as equals? So Plan International asked about 1,500 girls between the ages of 12 and 25 in Australia some questions about gender equality. And it's interesting that between the 10 and 14 age group, 84% that they weren't treated equally when it came to sport. And then secondary was the media, TV and magazines. And it's interesting that at the 15 and 17-year-old age group, that percentage increases because this is when the girls start buying into the stereotypes that media presents us and culture presents us. And this is where the real body issues get created. You saw that video yesterday about run like a girl. The younger girls were running like a girl. The older girls had already bought into the perception that running like a girl meant throwing your arms around. So, you know, this is the age group that we lose them at. Girls want respect and encouragement. They want informative communication, and they want it to be clear and consistent. So boys will more likely listen to their coach and just follow the direction. Girls want to be explained. They want explanation as to why they're making those decisions. They want their coach to be a positive role model. If they don't respect them, they won't play for them. They want their coach to have knowledge of the sport. So a lot of clubs, the coach that applied for the under-16 boys, but they didn't give him the gig, they give him the under-12 girls as sort of a side thing. That's reality, guys. I know there'll be a few of you in the room that are real advocates for the female game, but this is happening all the time. All the time. And there's still 46.4% of our clubs here in Victoria do not have girls' teams. I'm not saying they don't have girls in their clubs, because they might have some girls in a boys' mini roos competition or playing up to under 13 boys where they can still field female players, but they don't have girls' teams in FFV run competitions. I've got this in the back. If you don't have one of these, then I urge you to collect it. I know Sarah Walsh commented that some of the imagery is actually quite old. It's only a year old. But I really urge you to take a copy and have a read, especially if your club is really, really, really keen and really serious about keeping girls in the game and developing them. That's all. We've got time. I did it too quick for you, Steph. See? I know. I know. I was talking forever yesterday. No, look, I've cut out a couple of things I wanted to talk about because I really I understand the Chinese FA is already here and the girls have to get on stage. So if anyone has a question.
That's what I was doing. I was saying hello, okay? Folks, do you have any questions for Helen? Yes, over here. Well, you're popular this morning, aren't you? Cheers.
Thank you. Those 4,000 that left, did you get the same results the year before? Or
the year before?
The season before, the seasons before that?
No, it was slightly lower. So I'm assuming you're going down the AFLW path. How many of those are going to there? No, it wasn't a significant thing. But originally I did that research to see if AFLW had made the impact that they were suggesting that they had. It was probably about 120, less than that.
Thank you.
It's coming.
Hi, I'm Peter from Gippsland. One of the questions I have probably has a little bit to do with some of the stats and things and how it affects us. It seems like the clubs are being asked to do lots of things.
They are.
And certainly we need to improve in all those areas. One of the things that I've found in my journey is that there needs to be more done at, say, an FFV, FFA level too, especially with women and females, to be more flexible in what what clubs are requesting to do or trying to do to, to maintain players and also give them a better environment. Has there been any thought on how we can address that better? Because I don't believe that it's been as good as it should.
No, I agree with you. We have not done enough. We haven't created flexibility in our competitions and things like that, especially for regional Victorians to grow the sport. We are reviewing it. I know I've really tried to engage with my Women's Standing Committee this year, so they're things that are on the agenda. I've, through this conference, been able to create great relationships with Sarah and with Emma, so their discussions we're definitely going to have. But feedback is great. I'm only newly into this role. I only started in this role in July, but any ideas, guys, I'm keen to hear them.
So you agree that coaching should be different from coaching kids or boys to girls?
Yeah.
So here's my question. If we don't have at a club the possibility to just do specific coaching training and we're just sending them to a broad coaching education session with the Australian Federation, are there any other outlets that you provide to clubs so that we can coach coaches and be a little bit more specific towards girls?
Towards girls, yeah. Not at the moment. That's definitely something that we're working on. It's been raised probably in the last month through a lot of emails to me. I agree that we have an issue in that area, and that's one of my main focuses next year, coaching. And if the coaching department within FFV can't do it, then people like Jen and I, Jen, I'm putting you forward, we're going to go out and deliver the programs ourselves because they're just not available. Yes, I've got all my coaching girls back there. I've got a team already lined up. It's going to happen.
Sorry, Helen, just to basically touch on that last question again. From a coaching point of view, though, are we actually talking about the way that we physically approach coaching females, or are we just talking about, I suppose, more in the way that we verbally approach coaching females? So I don't think the coaching process changes, but the way that you would approach it in your conversations, in your communication, that's where I suppose male coaches need to adapt what they're doing.
Yeah, it's like sensitivity training for coaches to understand how to communicate with girls. But you're exactly right. We would not change the technical aspect of the game.
Hi, just a quick question about sort of with the FFV, what they're doing for coaching. Like, I think it's important to have female coaches coaching young girls' teams. I know for me personally, one of my most influential coaches was a female, and I'm getting a really good response from the parents of my kids. Is there anything that the FFV can do to encourage clubs to appoint female coaches rather than, I mean, we say that we want them to do it, but realistically it sort of doesn't happen. Like, are there sort of, I don't know, financial discounts or some sort of initiatives that can be put in place to reward clubs for actually following through on that? So currently we're piloting a club accreditation system where we've gone out to, I think, about 7, Josie, how many clubs so far? So we're piloting with 20 clubs, and to get the highest ranking or to be in that top grade, there's rewards surrounding female participation. It's scaled, so for example, if they have 30% coaches are female, they'll get 5 points. So we are taking it seriously, and the point system that I've not forced them, because Jason Charles has been a massive ambassador for the female game like for many years. The ranking they get, or the points they get assigned to female stuff in terms of coaching board and things like that, is actually really high. So clubs will want to achieve them, and it's sending the message that we take this really seriously and we put a lot of weight on this. But in terms of girls, coaching girls, I mean, again, girls want different things. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with men coaching girls. Thanks, Alan.
Look, I've been coaching for over 20 years. About out of the 20 years, most of them be females. I noticed that in coaching, we lack of psychology. We focus only about the drills and all that, but very little on psychology. And coaches, we are psychologists, social workers. And I could give you experience of me chasing girls at 3 o'clock in the morning because they left their homes.
Yeah. You do, Matildas, you become that. And whether you're doing it with boys or girls, anyone working with children has to, you know, be like a social worker. You need to be conscious of their, you know, their self-esteem, and you're responsible for that to some degree. So it is a massive responsibility, and you are obligated. You have a duty of care to do the right thing by these kids and support them emotionally as well through this, and especially during the 12 to 16 age groups for the girls.
More questions for Helen? Perhaps just in closing, Helen, if you could talk to, back to our theme, Matildas growing grassroots, how important is that top of the tree? We've heard that the plans and the aspirations that Alan Stajic has for the team. How important is that for you in the retention? It's
huge. You can't be it if you can't see it. I mean, if clubs, up until recently, the girls didn't really see a clear pathway. You know, the boys want a bit of Ronaldo, but girls play for social reasons. They want to play with their friends. But there's an actual, aspirational path there. We've got some amazing Matildas that should be in posters throughout your whole club. Should be talked about. Should be, you should be posting this stuff on your social media so the girls see there's an actual pathway. They can play for their country. I mean, you talk to some people like Bubs and Kate, and they've visited like 50 different countries. It's such an amazing experience and such a great opportunity. So yeah, they might not make $20 million a year, but they get to travel the world. They get to get some pretty decent money. It has to be better, but it's quite decent, and possibly get an education abroad through the US college system. So, we need to promote that stuff, and it will only help us increase participation.
Helen, thank you very much. Wonderful presentation. Ladies and gents, Helen Tyrikos.